Hello and welcome to Tales from the Twists, a podcast where we like to talk about Around the Twist, an 80s, 90s and early 2000s television show aimed primarily at children from Australia. My name is Joseph Lewis and I'm joined here to talk about Around the Twist with my friend and co-host, Anthony Bull. How are you, Anthony?
Oh, hey Joe. I'm alright, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah?
Today we're joined together to talk about the Viking Book of Love, which is Season 3, Episode 2 of Around the Twist. Did you have any memories of this episode from your childhood?
No, not really.
Just a flat out no?
Yeah, a flat out no. I don't remember this episode at all. I remember the whole Vikings doing something, I don't know, but I don't remember this exact episode.
Okay.
So I know the Vikings came, but I didn't know this was the episode and that they were, dumb.
Well, we'll get into this as we talk about Season 3 and
Yeah.
as we go through it. But Season 3 of Around the Twist is very much a primary story arc as opposed to the other seasons. So in Season 2, we had that weird thing with the Jeremiah and What's-His-Face and showing up every episode. But it wasn't a continuing primary arc like we get in this season, which is built around this Viking Book of Love, which we'll talk about as we get to in this episode.
Yes.
And in Season 1, we also had Nell's family. But it wasn't kind of this constant, solid storyline. It was just things that would happen throughout the episode, right?
Yeah.
But we'll get into that as we go through this episode. And as we start every single episode of Around the Twist, we have a teaser. And the teaser usually tells us a bit about what to expect thematically and storyline
Yeah.
as we go through. And in this episode, we got Vikings. And we have a Viking ship sitting on the ocean. And then we freeze frame and pull out to reveal that that ship is inside a Viking Book of Love. And that's how we get the title
Did you
for the
like
episode.
this intro?
I thought it was one of the better ones.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was pretty good. I think I wrote down in my notes, opens of Vikings, yes, first page, I wrote very nice. It was very good. The rest, I think, we're used to the other ABC budgets or whatever, which is just, appalling.
This is in the early 2000s,
so I guess it's
technology
better.
has stepped up,
Yeah.
and I believe the budget has stepped up on ABC, as we've talked about in the past, Season 1 and 2, from Channel 7.
Yes.
Notoriously stingy.
Are they?
No, they're
No.
not at all. I just said that because I wanted to.
Well, now we're banned from Channel 7 forever, aren't we?
I would enjoy that, Anthony.
Would you?
Yeah, those people that came up with Pop Idol. I want to be involved in that.
Yeah, fair enough. You don't want to be involved with Pop Star? That's fine.
I don't want to be involved
You
in
do
Pop
not
Star.
have to be involved with Bardo.
Not that anyone would want to.
Well, someone would be.
We start the actual episode itself with a rock jetty, and the Twist children are standing on it, and Linda's saying that she's been dreaming about him. I had to rewind the episode about 5 times to be able to work out if it was she was dreaming about it or dreaming about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of weird things. Firstly, Linda's been having some sort of communication with the other world, something we've talked about in the past.
Some sort of spiritual thing.
Some sort of spiritual thing, and they're standing on a rock jetty.
Yeah.
What's with that?
I don't know. They have many jetties in Port Miranda. Port Noranda. Whatever. Miranda.
It's spelled with an N. It is clearly spelled with an N.
Port Miranda Kerr. They have it. That's what it's called.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes.
They have a lot of jetties there. There's another episode where they have a race on the jetty. I think it's the Whirling Dirtfish episode coming up.
What is that? So
there's 1.5 million jetties.
What is actually a jetty? What is the definition of a jetty?
I don't know. I think I called it a pier. But
a pier?
Yeah,
What is the difference between a pier and a jetty?
No, actually, sorry.
Thing?
Gribbles are looking out to water at a jetty. So, yeah, you're right. It is a jetty. I don't know. A jetty is made of rocks. A pier is made of wood.
Listen, I know as much about jetties as I know about astrophysics.
I know a lot about
a lot. No,
jetties. I was raised to be a jetty man.
I was raised
by wharfers.
Right? Wharfers?
They walked the wharfs every day. And they said to me, Anthony, the difference between a jetty and a pier is one is made of wood and one is made of rocks. Case closed.
All right. Well, thank you for your expert analysis of the rock jetty.
Oh, well. Actually, you just call it a jetty because, of course,
it's made of rock.
It's made of rock.
I'm sorry for getting that wrong.
No worries.
Please forgive my ignorance.
I will forgive that ignorance.
Linda says to her siblings, "Can you hear that snoring?" So he's snoring from out in the ocean, and Bronson says, "Oceans don't snore," and Pete says, "Oceans don't even sleep." Thanks, Pete. Thanks for telling us the incredibly obvious.
Pete is, once again, super clever, as always,
Well, the thing with Pete, in Season 1,
he was clever. Does he?
He was clever in Season 1.
Yeah.
In Season 2, he was kind of a non-entity.
Yeah.
In Season 3, he's this whiny, kind of effeminate man-child.
Yeah.
Who just complains about everything and falls in love with things as easy as lovesick hippopotamus.
That's a really weird thing to say, but
Well,
okay.
listen, I was grasping at straws and I grabbed the first thing that came to my mind.
It's weird the first thing that came to your mind was a hippopotamus.
Well, let's just...
of all the
move-
animals,
let's
we don't
ju-
even have those in our country.
Let's
Like,
just move... Let's just leave
have
that.
you even seen a hippopotamus?
Maybe.
You've never seen a hippopotamus in your life, have you?
Have you seen a hippopotamus?
No, exactly. That's why I wouldn't have it as my first point of reference. It'd be like a dog or something, you know? But hippo, jeez. Christ, man.
Something that I'm going to want to talk about as the episode goes on is that the way that the men are portrayed in this episode
Yeah.
is becoming increasingly alarming.
How so?
Well, let's talk about it when we get down to it. But
Alright.
the masculine portrayals of some of these characters are extremely effeminate. And one might think that they're even trying to make a point here. But let's come back to that.
We'll get back to that. That's a big point.
3 jet ski riders cruise in with music that sounded like it was straight out of Mission Impossible.
Have
And
you actually seen Mission Impossible?
I've seen parts of the first Mission Impossible.
There you go.
Thank you,
the
Anthony.
lies continue with Joe.
There are no lies here. I'm a very honest man. This is a very
I
honest
know
podcast.
for a fact that you've never really seen Mission Impossible.
I've
You've
seen
seen like one of
I've
the Mission
seen
Impossible.
the first half of Mission Impossible at least twice. I just can't get through it.
Ugh.
It's not my...
The later
cup
ones
of
are much
tea.
better. They're much better.
Well, I wouldn't know that because
You
the
should
first
watch
one
it.
is awful.
You do not need to watch them in succession. They do
You
not have a
do.
concurrent plot.
Any series, you must watch in order.
Unless it's one of those weird art films where you can't watch it in order.
What weird art film are you
I
referring
don't
to?
know,
Anthony?
like somebody releases it and
Are you
it's
talking
like...
about the Three Colors trilogy?
No, I'm talking about like a movie, someone releases it, and it's like, this doesn't make any sense. And then the next movie is supposed to be the first movie, and then the second movie was released first, and then the third movie is released later, and then it's like, doesn't make any sense.
Are you just making
It's
this up, or is
confusing.
this
I'm making this
actually
up.
happened?
I'm making this up. And
You
it's
are
like-
making this up.
Yeah, it's like Lars von Trier. He could do it, right? He'd get away with it, and people would think, "Oh man, what a genius! What a genius this guy is."
Lars von Trier directed Nymphomaniac.
Yes.
Which was an enormous movie that they had to cut in 2 parts.
Yes,
Yeah, he didn't make a movie that was out of order.
he could have
That's
teamed up with Christopher Nolan.
extremely unartistic to make sequels.
Well, who are you? Who are you to judge my art?
I am extremely artful, Anthony.
I guess so. Whatever. Cast my dreams to asunder.
These jet ski riders, they roll in, and Bronson says, "I can hear it now. I can hear the snoring. Yeah, thanks, Bronson."
Yeah, good input. Oh shit.
Gribble and his family and friends, watching from, I don't know, what would you call this? Is this a wharf? A built jetty made of wood? Yes.
Well, then it's a pier, isn't it?
Well, thank you
Yes.
for that, Anthony.
Yes, no worries.
All-knowing
Anytime.
expert of
Wharfs and
water
piers.
construction.
Yes, I know all. See all. I'm never wrong.
They're watching from this bridge, and Gribble's talking about the jet skis, and he's very excited because there's going to be a jet ski Grand Prix,
Yeah.
whatever that is, and it's going to be a money magnet, a tourist magnet for Port Noranda. Faye shows up out of nowhere, and she just appears kind of behind them. And I wrote down Nell shows up because this is something that this is Nell's
something
role.
Nell should do, right? Yeah.
Why is Faye suddenly doing this role? But she shows up and she says, "Tourist maggot, more like it."
Yeah.
Faye apparently has a big problem out of nowhere with jet skis in Port Noranda, even though they're on the actual ocean. I don't know why she has a problem. Are people just grinding their fingers up in these jet ski engines or something? What is the problem? It's on the ocean.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with fish? Do you have a problem with the Uruganji? No, I didn't think so.
No.
Let the fish be. Let the jet skis be. They're in their native habitat.
Yeah, it's the native habitat.
Yeah, the jet ski native habitat is the ocean.
Yes, it is.
It is. Now, Faye is very upset, and she's got a petition to say that they can't have the jet ski Grand Prix here.
Did she really annoy you when you were watching this?
Yeah, of course she did.
Yeah, I was just like, God, she seemed like I'm sorry, but she seemed like a massive bitch. She just seemed like a massive bitch. Seriously.
Yes.
Like, that's what I felt it was. Like, and you know when she goes away, right? She decides she's going to put this petition into the big city. Now, I'm not sure if I got the name of this big city properly. She's got to go visit. It's going to be like 24 hours. What did you write it down as?
What are you talking
The
about?
city was called something. It was called,
She just says she's taking the petition
Yeah.
to a higher level of government.
yeah, I thought it said to the next level of government, and it said in Bigville.
In Bigville.
That's what I heard. I heard
I didn't
Bigville
write
when
that
I
down.
was, I heard Bigville, and I was like, that's a stupid name, but apparently that's the city that, manages the municipality of Port Miranda.
Well,
Port Noranda. Jeez.
I have many things to think about this, but I think they can be saved for another time. Bigville
Yeah.
is probably the least original name that you could name your city.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, look, our city's so
Metropolis,
big.
maybe?
Metropolis.
Yo.
Don't get me started on that.
Don't get-
Comic books and originality, though. What can you expect there? Not much.
Yeah, that's true.
Gribble says, listen, jet skis, they're harmless. They're not going to cause anybody any damage. And young Gribble says, oh, can I have one for Christmas then? He says, no, they're far too dangerous. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Jet skis. Not for everyone. Are they actually dangerous, though?
I don't know. I don't own a jet ski. They look dangerous sometimes, but I mean, with a child, I probably wouldn't leave them with a child. Don't you need... apparently you need a jet ski license.
You do.
Yeah. So, I guess if they're dangerous enough to require a license...
Not when this
probably.
episode was made, though. Probably not.
But that's weird because...
But later on in the...
we got to talk about that, yeah.
Yeah. Later on in the episode, one of the characters driving a jet ski, spoilers, has an L plate on the back of his jet ski.
And it's a hilarious joke, but it also, leaves something to the question.
Yeah. A couple of things before we move on from this section. I just wanted to say, Nell, completely absent from this episode.
She should have been in this episode. She should have done Faye's job.
I feel like she was meant to be this part, and maybe they wrote her out or swapped her with Faye for whatever reason.
I think I wrote, I have to try and stop the jet skis. That's what Faye was saying. And I wrote down, why, in big capitals. And then I wrote down, also, write to Nell, she is a senator.
Yes.
Seriously, why don't you just do that?
Don't write to her.
Tell her.
Tell her. She lives right next door to your lighthouse.
You could use her authority as a senator to try to, get some, ins into the, Bigville or whatever.
Yes.
Big, think about it. Clive Palmer comes, it's Clive Palmer now. Who's some senator. I don't know, Penny Wong or something. You got Penny Wong as your senator. And you're like, she comes into the city of Bigville and it's like, we have this petition to stop these jet skis. People are probably going to listen to Penny Wong. I mean, it's Penny Wong. She's not a big deal, but she's bigger than bloody anyone in Bigville, I can tell you that much.
That segment brought to you by Penny Wong.
Penny Wong.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about...
The only senator I can name.
Well, isn't there the
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Scott Muir? No. That's someone else I know. My bad.
The other thing I wanted to talk about here is that Espen Storm, the guy who plays Snapper, he's written and directed a lot of the episodes in the past, but he's one of the primary writers of this season. And he primarily wrote this episode and directed this episode as well, right?
Yeah.
He's clearly going for more of a comedy thing in this season. And that style really shows out. That everything's a bit over the top. Season 1 was fairly grounded.
Yeah.
We had ghosts and stuff, but everything was grounded and under control.
And there was a touch of, I suppose, realism, or I want to say, the macabre at levels.
Yes.
Some levels. This episode was just like, oh, look, it's the Vikings, and they're so silly.
It's like...
What would happen if Vikings invaded, but they were silly?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, this is what would happen.
It's a Wacky's 80s sitcom at this point. And we got touches of that in season 2, where it was this goopity-goop 90s...
Much gooping.
Kids gooping...
Goop
Nickelodeon influenced...
Don't get me started on the Nickelodeons.
Shenanigans. Back at the lighthouse. Faye's leaving.
Yeah.
Because she's going to take the petition to the wherever she's going. Bigville.
Yeah.
Mysterious city number 2. And Tony's fairly upset about this.
Yes.
Faye's not even gone for 24 hours, right? She's not going to be gone for 24 hours. And Tony is this whiny... I don't know. How would you describe Tony in this scene?
I would describe him as very needy and, what did I write down? Did I write anything down? No, it's basically he's needy. He's incredibly needy and insecure.
Tony, for no reason whatsoever, is emotionally needy.
Yeah, he was never this bad before, but all of a sudden his fiancée is going away for 24 hours and he just can't deal. He has not had, maybe think about this, maybe he's been on his own for so long when he has a woman in his life now.
Yes.
All of a sudden he's worried that he'll lose her. Maybe this happened before. Maybe this is how his wife died.
Oh, okay.
Maybe she was like, I'm just going to go on a trip somewhere, see my mother or something,
Yep.
I'll be 24 hours. No worries, and she dies in the car crash.
That's a valid point.
Because that would probably scare me a little.
What I thought you were going to say was that this is how you thought that he lost Faye in the first place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I guess that was just Bronson's fault.
Yeah, of course it's Bronson's fault. This whole shenanigans are all Bronson's fault.
Faye's trying to stop the jet skis. The two of them kiss, and Linda sees them kiss, and she's not impressed.
No.
Well, thanks, Linda. Really needed your input on this matter.
Well, Linda, this season's Linda has just been increasingly more, what can we describe her as? Annoying?
I don't know.
You don't know?
But I know how she would be described by one of our listeners.
Yes, we do know how he would describe her, and I think in his words, it is a up-and-coming or fledgling dominatrix.
Yes. One of our listeners, Stephen Wadpole, is obsessed with his theory, I guess you would call it, that Linda is a future dominatrix. And you can check out that on one of the many social media outlets of Tales from the Twists.
Yes.
So there's this fog out to sea.
Oh, wait a second. I just got to take off my jacket. It's really
This is very unprofessional, Anthony.
It's bloody
How
hot.
dare you interrupt our
hot.
recording to take off your jacket?
What they say.
There's a lot of fog out to sea, and Tony's very upset that Faye is gone. He's being incredibly wimpy, so much so that I've written down so wimpy.
So
No,
wimpy?
it doesn't get much more wimpy than that.
I don't think so.
So wimpy.
You couldn't be wimpier if you
Bronson's inside with his father, and he's using a computer, and he's looking up a website called Booger World. I had to double check this. I had to go back to the scene and say, was that Booger World? Because I thought it was Blogger World, because why on earth would somebody be visiting a website named Booger World?
And Regan Pontillo actually picked up on that.
Yes, one of our famous contributors,
Yes.
Regan Pontillo. Well, he's not famous. He's famous within the realms of Tales from the Twist.
He's famous on the Chicken Twisties.
He's famous in our hearts.
He is the pioneer.
Yeah, he's the pioneer,
The Messiah.
of listeners that contributing feedback. But so much so that we've named a segment after him. It's called Pontillo's Pontifications.
Yeah.
And Pontillo's written in with a bunch of stuff every week. He usually does, and you can too if
of course.
you listen in, and we'll tell you the details of how to do that at the end of the episode. But Regan's written in, and he's given us a few notes on today's episode. And the one that I want to highlight at the moment is that Regan...
Yes.
Why don't you read it for us, Anthony?
Okay, so Regan put it in that Bronson, alright, this is on the Booger World website. He out of curiosity, he tried to go to boogerworld.com and boogerworld.com.au. Neither of them have a web page.
Did he try boogerworld.net?
Well, no, I guess
what
not.
are the other extensions? Boogerworld.gov?
.org, I guess.
Boogerworld.gov.au, I'm sure, would have shown some great results.
Yeah, I'm sure the Australian
Primarily
government would have funded this.
That clip of Kevin Rudd picking his nose and eating it.
Picking
I
his
think
earwax, wasn't it?
Well,
Whatever.
Whatever.
Booger, if you call them boogers,
yeah,
I guess.
let's just use the term booger lightly.
To describe
and then we
any
can get
type
away
of
with
thing you
whatever
can
we
pick
want.
and eat, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So he's looking at that. Pete's trying to watch TV, but he turns it on, there's no reception. Bronson's PC stops working, and it gets staticky. So the TV gets staticky, then the computer gets staticky. Well, that's not how computers work, Espen Storm, and you would know that if you actually used a computer.
Sorry, Ebsen. But remember, he's dead. So
Espen?
Espen, whatever. He's dead, so you better be nice to him.
Listen.
Or you'd be haunted by Snapper.
The fact that when somebody dies, you can't be rude to them anymore deeply annoys me.
Does it?
I just want to be rude to people.
Well, why don't you be rude to some dead people then? See if they haunt you.
I will.
Okay.
Espen?
Yeah?
You seem like a nice guy, but you screwed up here.
Okay.
You screwed up here. This is not how computers work.
Do you want to make a comment about Belinda Emmett now?
Who's Belinda Emmett?
I don't know. I think it's Robert McManus's wife.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know her.
You didn't know her?
I don't know anything about her. Why would I say something rude about Belinda Emmett?
I don't know. I thought you were going to list off dead celebrities and make fun of them.
Well, that is one thing that I'm prone to do. No, why would I do that? I would never do that.
I'd love to, I was waiting for you to say, I love to make fun of dead celebrities.
No, what, are you going to take that clip, post it on the internet, Joseph Lewis from Tales from the Twist to Dead People Scandal?
No, I just keep it so that if you're ever in court and they say, is this man an honourable man? And I'll say, well, click, I love to make fun of dead celebrities.
Yeah, but if you look up my internet history, there's not going to be boogerworld.com.au. So you can take that, Anthony Bull and Regan Pontillo.
That's true. If I was ever arrested, they'd find Booger World as my homepage.
You didn't look it up?
No, I didn't look it up, but I will now.
Yeah,
no.
and put yourself into disrepute.
Yes.
Linda checks the radio, no go. Tony checks the phone, it's also a no go, and he's upset that Faye's going to think that he doesn't care. You know what, Tony? It's probably a good thing.
Grow some nuts.
You know, women are attracted to masculinity.
Well, some of them are.
Well, yes, some of them
are.
What are you saying? What are you trying to say?
I don't know. Some of them aren't attracted to masculinity.
Well, what are some of them attracted to?
Femininity?
Are you talking about lesbians?
I don't know if lesbians necessarily attracted to femininity, but I gotta assume some of them are.
I don't know. Who am I to speculate on the attractive what women are attracted to?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a woman. I'm not attracted to. I am attracted to women. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what I'm
Wait,
fucking
what did
saying.
You say?
I'm saying.
Now that's something that I can take.
Yeah,
and
I
don't
fucking know. Whatever. Women like women sometimes,
but not always.
But not always.
Except when they do.
Except when they do, even if they don't.
Except when they do.
Except when they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's enough.
I wanted to point out. Actually, I forgot to point this out.
What?
This was the first mentioning of the internet.
Yeah.
In Round the Twist. This is like the first time the internet has ever been referenced in Round the Twist, and it's just like I feel like it was done mostly to modernize the show.
Yes.
You know, it'd be like, oh, we've got the internet now. But it looks really dated because they have the old CRT monitors.
Yes.
So, that's my little input there.
Well, thank you for your little input.
Yes, that's true.
Tony gathers the family and he says, we're going to do the thing that families used to do before there was TV, radio, computers, and phones. We're going to go to bed.
It was a bad setup of that joke, too.
Snapper was trying really hard for a joke here.
Because it's like, what are we going to do? What? Well, we're going to do what before? It's like, what? We're going to go to bed. Wow, wow. Or it would have been like, it would have been freeze framed, black and white. It would have been like, these happy days are yours and ours. These happy days, these happy days. Something like that. Can we say that?
What?
Is that piracy?
Well,
did I say enough of it to get us flagged?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how close you have to be to the source input. If you just sing Happy Days, is that enough to trigger it?
I think so, because it's for lyrics.
Yeah, but if you're singing it out of tune, are the algorithms...
Oh, would the algorithm
pick it up?
No, I guess not, but I mean, whoever owns Happy Days theme song might be like, hey, I'm watching Tales from the Twists, and...
Yeah, I would... You know what? If that person was listening to Tales from the Twists, I think I would be pleased if they were suing us.
Yeah, it's true. I'd fight it, and then there'd be like David and Goliath story, and we'd be on ACA, and we'd send sick Tracy Grimshaw on them. Oh, you wouldn't like that, would you? Whoever owns the company.
I'd want Mike Munro on my side. Now there's a report.
Oh, no, that's someone you want. I actually want Peter Costello. No, what's his name? Not Karl Stefanovic.
Peter Costello.
I want maybe Peter Costello.
Peter Costello.
Peter Stefanovic.
Ah,
the
young Stefanovic.
The real journalist.
Oh. What are you saying about Karl Stefanovic?
Well, he hosts the Today Show while his brother goes to Ukraine and Gaza Strip. So I'm just saying that as far as journalists go, I think that Peter is a bit more of a real one.
It's morning. There's fog everywhere. Linda goes outside with Tony, and there's really thick fog, and they hear snoring. There's lots of snoring. I wonder what could be coming. There's headlights. They approach. It's kind of artfully shot here. Now, there's something that I want to talk about here.
Yeah.
As the fog sits in, the further we get into the episode, the foggier it gets. And every scene we see with the characters outside, you can hardly see what's happening. Because they've put fog all over the screen.
Yeah.
They've just fogged it up. You can hardly see anybody's face.
Yeah.
So just give us a clean shot. Yes, we know there's fog there. Doesn't mean you have to make it hard for us to see them.
Yeah.
We're trying to watch a television show here.
Bad lighting, you saying?
No, I'm not saying bad lighting. I'm just saying there's too much fog.
Okay, less fog.
Can't see anything.
Well, fine.
Let me see what... It's a television show. It's a visual medium. Let me see what I'm watching here.
Well,
is that too much to ask?
Perhaps it is, Joe. Perhaps it is.
Perhaps it is indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps indeed. There's headlights they approach, and all the relevant characters are gathered, for some reason, having a town meeting next to the beach, in a park, in the middle of nowhere, and they're saying that there's no contact with any of the outside world because the fog's cut everything off.
Yeah.
They got no phones, no television shows, they're not getting any deliveries from outside. What's gonna happen?
What does happen?
Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
That is what we're here for.
Yes, absolutely.
Unless you've seen the episode.
Which I did.
Yes.
And now I should know.
Then you should know.
I do. I actually have a list of notes right here.
On your 3,000 words of notes.
Yeah, I do actually have 3,794 words.
Rabbit says, what's gonna happen if the sun never comes out again? And Tiger has maybe the quip of the series here, and he says there will be no photosynthesis and all of nature will just die.
Yeah. And then, I thought it was weird that the Gribbles actually all of a sudden cared about the environment, even though in like earlier episodes they really enjoyed killing the environment, if you think about it.
There's been an effort put into making the new set of Gribbles actually funny again.
Yeah.
Because season 1, the cast, they were quite funny, the Gribbles.
They were.
Especially Rabbit and Tiger. They were well cast. Season 2 was a bit of a misfire, but season 3, we've got a really well cast Gribble gang, and they've got some funny lines here.
They do.
Like in that season 3, episode 1 episode, that second episode word was redundant, but anyway.
Yeah,
you know.
I know.
Words and things. The Rabbit and the Tiger are very funny.
Yeah, they are.
The Rabbit... He's like how would you describe him? He's like a sunken-faced dwarf creature.
I wouldn't have described him as that, but yeah, okay, fine, sure. He's a sunken-faced dwarf creature from beyond the stars.
And Tiger kind of looks like a rat man.
Yeah, I guess he's Rat Man.
Or he's Rat Man incarnate.
He is Rat Man incarnate.
He's spawn of verminous... Scum?
I guess so.
I always get that messed up, Verminous Scum. Yeah. You can hear more about Verminous Scum and all his friends on our Tales from the Twists podcast where we talk about Captain Planet.
Yes.
But yes, Gribble tries to keep everybody calm, and he says, listen, we'll see if we can do something here. And then Linda, out of nowhere, says, he's here. They all go down
It's really
to the water.
creepy when he does.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little bit creepy. And they all go down to the water, and the Viking boat has arrived. And there's a bunch of Vikings on board, and they're all asleep. So that's what the snoring is.
Yeah.
And Bronson says, "Are they aliens?" And Gribble says, "No, don't be ridiculous. They're just tourists here for the jet ski Grand Prix."
Well, they're both equally stupid.
They are.
Yeah, that was a stupid comment, Gribble. You're much smarter than that.
It's just poor writing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's not. Who are these people? Oh, I don't know. They're people in a sailboat. No, they're obviously aliens or they're
Yes.
tourists.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess you need an explanation for what they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
The boat hits the rock, and they all wake up. And my notes are bordering on incomprehensible here, so see if you can help me out.
Yes.
I've written something that says young Viking, and he smiles at Linda. I've put exclamation mark here. I think that means he's interested in her. And then it says, Boss Viking shouts at him to be useful.
Okay. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anthony, for helping me out with that.
I saw as well that they're wearing what's it called? They're wearing the horned helmets.
Yes.
So, which are like historically inaccurate. So I noted that.
Oh, why? Tell me about the horn helmets and their historical accuracy.
Okay. That people think that the Vikings had horn helmets.
Why didn't they?
They just, there's no, whenever they found Viking helmets, at battle sites or anything along those lines, there's never any horns associated with those helmets or close by.
Were they just helmets?
They were just regular
Why
helmets.
do we think that they have horn helmets?
It was like
then?
something like Victorian riders or something invented it. And when you think about it, horn helmets are not a good idea because they
get them stuck on things.
Well, if your opponent can grab the horn, he can pull your whole head down.
Yeah.
So they're not a very good idea at all.
Yes.
Unless you're a giant, which Vikings can be. So maybe it is.
Can Vikings be giants?
I don't think so. I don't.
They've got to be on a boat.
Yeah,
Fight on a boat.
Yeah, but boats are pretty big, man.
Well, it depends on your boat. This was not a big boat.
Well, this is not a historically accurate show.
What? You telling me that Round the Twist is historically inaccurate?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I will. I'll leave.
You
Pagan
witch doctor.
Yeah, I'm a witch doctor and I cast a spell on you. You're dead now.
The Vikings step onto the, what are we calling this? A pier? A jetty?
Is it made of wood or is it made
It's
of
made
rock?
of wood.
Well, then it's a pier, wasn't it?
Well, yes.
Yes.
Thank you for clearing that up again. The boss Viking immediately hits on Patron, the matron.
Patron the matron.
I meant to say matron, Gribble's wife, and he says, "Greetings, my sweet potato. I think I love you." All the Vikings laugh, and he says, "I want you to wash my hair." I guess that's probably the most erotic thing that he could think of.
I guess so. He offers to give her a divorce as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Matron says that she's married, and the boss Viking draws his sword and he says, "I can get you a divorce. My sword has 289 husbands."
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I didn't write that. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, the sword, he's making a joke. He's saying that the sword
He's killed
kills
289 husbands. Okay.
Yeah.
I only had, his sword has smote 1,000 skulls.
I have that too.
Good, I'm glad, because I'm worried we didn't watch the same versions or
No,
something.
I
That'd be like a
watched,
secret version.
Yeah, I watched the super secret Paul Jennings extra director's cut.
Director's
edition.
cut. It's like, I don't really like the 289. I wanted to have 1,000, but Ebsen just creative control, you know.
Yeah, the interesting thing about season 3 is that Paul Jennings, as far as I know, didn't have a lot of creative control.
Yeah.
So he was involved in the first 2, but not in 3 and 4, and I wonder why that is. If we ever get to interview him one day, I'd really like to ask him.
Paul, give us a call.
If you're listening, Paul,
Yes.
give us a call. Sorry for slagging you off in the past. We were slagging off the fictional character in Anthony's book.
Yeah, called The Life and Times of Paul Jennings. Not related to you.
The Viking boss introduces himself as, "I'm Chief Snor'e'Son, and and my sword has crushed 1,000 skulls. I've come to loot and plunder." Has he also come to rape?
Yeah,
Are we
don't
allowed
they
to
generally
say
do that? Well, didn't they do that?
Well, that's
That's what they did.
what you said.
Right.
That's what was said about Vikings.
So, I don't know.
Obviously, this was taken out because it was a children's show, but is that what those Vikings are here to do as well?
Probably.
Are we allowed to talk about that?
Why not?
Is it socially acceptable to talk about that thing in the context of Vikings?
Of course we are. It should be dumb otherwise. It'd be
I don't know the rules. What are the rules?
Just don't, I don't know. I don't know. Vikings, they like to rape people. Done.
Move on.
I don't fucking know. Otherwise, it's like, hey, you know what? Go near those Vikings. I'm sure they're safe.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure they're really safe. They won't kill you at all.
They're super safe.
Yeah, you should totally give them money as well.
Harold introduces himself to them as a real estate agent and Lord Mayor of Port Noranda. So he is mayor.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Yeah. Why did he need to be senator? Isn't that a conflict of interest? Is
Well, I'm
this the same canon?
assuming that he would have left his Lord Mayor job. And hang on, what happened to that chick who was the mayor?
Ah, yeah.
What happened
He's
to her?
become mayor again?
Yeah, like, so maybe there was like,
Is this a different parallel dimension?
yeah, maybe it is, when you think about it, because like this whole episode is sort of like the Viking Book of Love, snore, oh, we're sleeping. Like, it's all related to sleep. So maybe the whole series is actually happening in someone's dream.
Yeah, but we've been here before.
I know we've been here before with the coma theory, but let's resurrect it, baby. Where's Nell? Where is Nell?
It's her dream.
It is Nell's dream. Coma back. Coma theory is back, baby. It's back.
Please don't call me baby. It's not.
I'm not talking to
something
you,
that I
I'm talking to
enjoy.
the listeners. The listeners go, yeah.
I'm sure the listeners don't appreciate being called that either.
Well, they write into me all the time saying, oh,
Yeah,
I
where are
love
these
that.
emails? I'm the only one on this
You're
podcast
the only
that
one who gets
secret
emails, secret emails, yeah.
If you want to send me secret emails, you can do so.
Yes.
On my address, secret email at talesfromthetwist.com.au.
Yes. /WordPress.
The boss Viking tells him to shut up, and he says that he is a prisoner of the eternal fog.
Yes.
Now, by he, I'm talking about Lord Snorri, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Snorlax the Great.
Snorlax the Great.
Viking the Destroyer. I don't know. Names.
Yeah.
And not Harold. Though Harold does become a prisoner of the fog.
I was really surprised that like the other Vikings weren't names like Yawny, Sleepy, and Cranky. Like I was expecting that because I'm like these are really terrible names. Snor'e'Son, was it? It was Sun Snore or something like that. Snor'e'Son.
Snor'e'Son.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
It's like I am son of Snorri. Well, shit.
a-
What else were we gonna call him?
Scandinavian naming convention. You're making fun of their history, their
Yeah.
legacy. You racist.
I guess I am being racist.
Yeah, you're being racist
I
to
will
the
go
great
and- I-
Aryan nation.
I will flog myself. Well, it is. It is. Isn't it? Is
Yeah.
it Aryan Nation?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, you should flay yourself.
I
in
will
respect
flagellate myself later. Alright?
to
With
your
the
Aryan
with the
overlords.
with the whip of tolerance. I will
Yes.
flagellate myself.
Oh, we're joking, of course.
No, I will literally do that. I will grab
No,
it and
we're-
slash my flesh.
Bit full on.
Well,
if you're a
it's-
first-time listener, we're not always like this on the show. Anthony's gone a little extreme. That's
I mean, no,
okay.
I can go extreme.
Harold offers to teach. What have I written here? These notes are very incomprehensible.
Notes are terrible.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten worse. I have gotten worse. But Harold offers the Viking Lord to give him a holiday. But the Viking, he cuts it in half with his sword. And he says, all I want is the wind in my sails and a clean head of hair. And Gribble can apparently help him out.
Yep.
So which one is he going to help him out with?
Jeez,
The sails or the hair?
The sails, of course.
Well, we'll see about that, Anthony.
Will we?
We will
Oh,
indeed.
that's good. I'm glad we will.
Back to the lighthouse. Tony says, there's something about these Vikings that makes me feel uneasy.
Well, they're Vikings. That should make you feeling uneasy enough, right?
They have a couple of other characters rib him about this, but just the fact that he said this
Yeah.
goes beyond, above and beyond everything that has ever been written for Tony in the past.
Yes.
Did you want to say something?
I want to say something
you
about.
pointed to me
I
subtly on your
subtly
tablet.
pointed to me on the tablet about Snor'e'Son.
Yes.
This is from Regan's Pontillo's Pontifications.
Well, let me just set this up.
Yes.
You're jumping the gun.
Am I jumping the gun?
As usual, young Viking appears.
We
and
haven't
he
even got
says-
to this guy.
No, we haven't even got to him yet. Well,
Oh,
we mentioned him
far out.
briefly, and he says, don't worry about my father, and he uses a German accent, because, Australian actors can't do proper Scandinavian accents,
What can you
because
do?
racism.
Whatever, man. Like, just give them a break. They work hard.
He is Snor'e'Son, son of Snorri. Well, we did mention him a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell me, what were you about to tell me?
Well, I was going to say that the guy is played by Nikolai Nikolaev. That's the name.
Nikolai Nikolaev?
Yeah, who was actually in the cast of Crash Zone,
Great
Saddle
show.
Club,
Saddle Club.
and many other Australian TV shows. So he's been around the block.
He has been around the block multiple times, as you would say.
No, I just did.
Yes.
So good.
As
repeating
you
me.
would say.
As I did indeed.
Yes. And Linda flirts with him. She's very happy to find out that he's a disappointment to his father because he has smote no skulls. As Snorri, the father of Snor'e'Son, has smote over 1,000.
Yes.
And Linda, as we all know, depending on the episode, does not like violence.
No, she does not. She loves peace and loves acceptance.
Yes.
Yes, and tolerance.
Inside the lighthouse, Snor'e'Son is eating a massive dinner that Tony's made for him. He drinks barbecue sauce straight out of the bottle, and he says, "We're looking for the Westland, the Great Westland, when we were caught in the fog of sleepy time."
Yes.
And Tony says, "What is sleepy time?" And Bronson says, "That's when you go to sleep, Dad." Excellent writing here.
Bronson.
Thank you, Espen.
Good work.
Snor'e'Son says, "Time stands still." And Linda asks him, "Oh, have we gone back in time?" Because of course he would know, being an 8th century Viking. And he says, "Yes, all time in the fog is stuck in the 8th century." Now, how would you know this? How would you know that
you're
it's
stuck
the
in the 8th century, right?
How would you know that? How would you even know that you're in the 8th century? I guess you would know, but
no, he may not know. He's a bloody Viking. He can't even read, probably.
Yes.
Like, reading was very rare back then.
The point is, how do you know that you're in the 8th century and not in something that is outside the space-time continuum?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what else is weird?
Yes.
So
What else? Tell me.
They landed on Australia, okay?
Yes.
But they said they were going for the Great Westland. Okay, but they're traveling east, right? They couldn't have got to Australia if they weren't traveling east.
This is more evidence supporting my theory that they're actually outside of space-time
Yeah.
and not actually in the 8th century.
So maybe it's like a Dark City style thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And it kind of moves around and incorporates different
spoiler
areas.
for Dark City.
If
It's
you
on an
wanted to
alien
watch that.
spaceship.
Oh, well, look what you've done, Anthony.
I just said spoiler for
You've
Dark
went and
City.
spoilt another movie.
I just said spoiler for Dark City.
People reach over for their keyboards, hit the pause button, reach for their iPod, press pause, and you've just gone and spoiled another movie.
Yeah, I said spoiler for Dark City, and
There's
then I
not enough
paused.
time. You need at least 30 seconds between a spoiler warning and the actual spoiler. This is spoiler etiquette.
Spoiler for Usual Suspects.
No, don't do that.
Kevin Spacey is Kaiser Sose.
You're one of those people that I hate. Now I'm stuck with the awkward position of going in and editing out that and censoring it.
Censor me, just like the government, eh?
Yeah.
Just wants to put me down.
Pete says, "Oh, this is great being in the 8th century because I've got 1,100 years to study for my exam."
He doesn't understand.
You idiot. You whiny, effeminate idiot.
Neither does Tony, right? Because Tony says that he's probably moved, that Faye's probably moved on
Yes.
in this time. And this is a problem that I've had with bloody time travel movies all the
Yeah.
time. It's like, there's a ticking clock going on, usually like we need to solve this problem really
Yes.
quickly, we're in the past, otherwise our future selves are going to be screwed. It's like, Days of Future Past has this.
Yep.
Okay? Now, this is a little bit more clear because I think the chick's performing some sort of psychic thing on Wolverine, so it's like kind of a split
Yep.
timeline, so it sort of works. But in most cases, if you're back in the 19-whatever time, you have exactly until the moment of the event occurring.
Yep.
You can do whatever you want until that point.
Yep.
So there's no ticking clock at all. And even if you screw up, hell, you could do it later.
Yep.
Right?
Go back again.
You do it again. Yeah, exactly. But no, it's like, Faye's moved on this time. Why would she? She's not even technically moving in time.
Yep.
Yeah.
The reason that they have no communications is apparently because they haven't been invented yet.
Yes.
Or it could also be because they're outside of the space-time continuum. Think of that, Espen Storm.
Well, here's the thing. Like, all the technology kind of screws up. And when I'm
Yes.
saying all the technology, okay, the power plant screws up. But
Yes.
then it turns out the power plant just needs, like, coal or it needs, like,
Wait.
fuel.
What are you talking about now?
The power plant.
Do they have a power plant in Port Miranda?
Epson's bloody Snapper says that the power plant... Hang
When
on.
does he say this?
He says it, like, right at the
Are
start.
you watching a different
Snapper
version to me?
says he's been down to the power plant, and if I recall, he's mentioned something like
So
how he
you're
needs to
watching
get turned on.
Snapper's super secret director's cut.
Yeah, Super Secret's director's cut. Now,
Why
we know
those
that,
do
here's
not
the
happen
thing,
in
we
my
know that,
version.
like, the lights and a whole bunch of other equipment still works. We know that cars still work, too.
Yes.
Alright? But it's just connections or communication with the outside world doesn't work. But then later on, there's other things that don't fit this model.
Yes.
So, and then also bikes work.
Do they?
Yep. We see later on Snor'e'Son is riding a bike. And jet skis as well later on. They all work, but they're not
Well,
invented, so
they're
how
not-
does that work?
They're not plugged in.
What?
I don't know. Well, who
Doesn't
am
make any
I
sense,
to,
right? Doesn't
to
make
fight
any
the
sense.
logic put forward by this?
This whole episode makes no
Episode.
sense. We'll have to go talk about this soon, but I mean, geez Louise, right?
Linda shows Snor'e'Son a map of Denmark, and he identifies the Great Westland as America.
Yeah.
A plot point that we'll come to a little bit later on.
So that's not too, like, you commented about the German accent, but I mean, the guy's Danish.
Well, yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you know, so it
Was
means,
Denmark relatively close to Germany?
yeah.
I'm
I'm
geographically
pretty
illiterate.
sure that it's like right next to Germany.
What do you call someone who's geographically illiterate?
An idiot.
Well,
I don't know.
thanks for that. Cached.
Geo stupidness.
You're mean,
I'm not mean.
and you should feel bad about that.
I feel bad about nothing. There's a problem with my head that doesn't let me feel bad
Every
about
night
things.
before you go to sleep, you should reflect upon all of the horrible things that you've said to me, and you should feel bad.
I do, but instead of feeling bad, I just smile.
And this is why you're going to the 8th layer of hell.
That's alright.
Snor'e'Son is trying to ride a bike.
Yes.
For whatever reason. Is this a joke?
He's never ridden a bike? I don't know.
Why a bike?
And how does a bike work? Why does a bike work? It hasn't been invented yet.
Is this a prelude to him riding a jet ski? Spoilers.
Yeah. Bored. I don't know. Like, I'm sure he'd be more interested in cars or something. Cars still work, apparently.
I have no idea. Linda's supposedly teaching him. She's not doing a very good job. He falls over and his horn helmet gets stuck in the building. Another reason why not to have a horn helmet.
Don't wear horns.
And Linda says, how do you escape the fog? And he says, well, you need speed. But we've got no speed because there's no wind and we can't paddle fast enough. Oh, I wonder what has speed and is an aquatic vehicle that we've mentioned so far in this episode.
Bronson's
I wonder
penis.
what that could be. That's next episode.
Yes.
We're talking about jet skis.
Of course. Didn't expect that.
Plot. Didn't see that coming.
Whoa.
Linda says, you could be here forever? She likes this fact. She's pretty keen on old Snor'e'Son.
Yeah.
And she pushes Snor'e'Son on his bike and he falls directly over. What a horrible person. She's almost as bad as you.
Yeah, nearly as bad as me, but she doesn't,
Not quite.
She doesn't try hard enough.
Only 7th layer for her.
Yeah, exactly.
Linda shows Snor'e'Son Tony's workshop, which is enormous now for this season for some reason. Season 1's workshop was a shed, a normal-sized shed. Season 2's was quite big. Season 3 is bigger than most people's homes.
Maybe his arts is doing really well.
We haven't seen any art for a while. We saw that one last episode.
Maybe he's like
that.
Maybe he's the darling of the Melbourne art scene now. And so, like, he's got a shit ton of money, so he's just invested it in his shed because, I don't know, that's just what artists do. They're weird. Or maybe he can't actually upgrade the house. Yeah, think about that.
Maybe.
It's a heritage listed, so he can't really do anything. So he has
Move over, Van Gogh.
Well, he can only upgrade the shed because the house can't be touched.
Linda says, in my dreams, a boy who looked a bit like you, read a book to me.
Yes.
So she's had this prophecy from last episode that somebody was going to read to her from a Viking book, and Snor'e'Son unveils the Viking book of love, and he says, if you read this book to somebody, they're going to fall in love with you. And Linda doesn't believe him, and he reads it and it works. Yeah. Because we don't have time for none of that nonsense.
No, of course not.
And Linda immediately asks him to marry her. This is like another one of those...
It's very feminist of her.
Feminist things, I guess.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it was very feminist, but I thought it was very funny if she'd said... I think it would have been funnier...
It isn't.
I thought it would have been funnier if she had done it a little bit more tongue-in-cheek to show that she's got a greater, stronger amount of will.
Well, I would have thought what would have been better if she'd been, would you like to live in an equal partnership with me?
Would you like to go down... Would you like to go...
Sharing partnership.
Would you like to go down to the local judge and receive a civil union?
Yes, would you like to be civilly united with me?
No,
I'm not asking you.
Okay.
I'm just saying what Linda said.
Judges out there, can you confirm that?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm already married. So, polygamy? Maybe?
No, I'm definitely not interested in that.
Alright, fair enough.
Back at the lighthouse, which we already were, I guess, the Gribble gang have joined the Vikings, and they've made weird armor for themselves, and Tony, not Tony, actually Mr. Gribble, I wrote that wrong.
Yes.
Another piece of evidence to support the fact that I'm terrible at taking notes.
Yes.
And Snor'e'Son wants the lighthouse for his love nest with Matron, and Gribble is just facilitating this.
Yeah, well...
Because he's scared of having his head smoked.
You know what I was thinking, alright?
What were you thinking,
If
Anthony?
only... I said somewhere, I wrote down here, if only Howard didn't take away our rifles, I'm sure someone in town has one. So if it wasn't for Martin Bryant doing his little thing in Tasmania...
Yes,
we'd have
Martin Bryant.
Damn you, Martin Bryant. If you're watching this,
so
what are you doing? I don't know why you'd be watching this.
Is it plausible that Vikings could take over small towns now with their swords because nobody could defend themselves?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the cop? Actually, where's the cop? Where is this police officer in the town?
He's back in season 2, Anthony. You should know that.
Of course. They didn't have... And he would have been useless. He would have seen a guy dressed as a Viking and be like, oh, well, that's just normal. That's completely normal stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's
normal.
Classic Miranda.
Don't worry about it. And the Viking would have been like, can I have your gun? And then the cop would have been like, oh, yeah, sure. Hey, have a look at it. And all of a sudden, boom, no cops.
Snorri wants the lighthouse, and Tony just gives it to him because he's scared of having his head smoked also. Linda appears, and she declares to everyone that she and Snor'e'Son are about to get married, and we find out that she's 13. I thought that she was older. I thought that Linda was older. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she looks older.
Well, she probably is actually older, the
Yeah.
actress that plays Linda.
I don't know. Like, maybe she is. Apparently
Well,
she's
I
13.
thought she would have been about the actress, maybe 16, 17, maybe older. But
I would
don't
have thought
know.
she was 14,
She
right?
definitely does not look 13.
Yeah, she does not. I guess maybe they're trying to keep her young enough to connect with the,
Young audience.
I don't know why people do
Like
these
us.
things. Yeah.
Snorri is very happy that his son is getting married, but it's a little bit late for him to be getting married because he's 14. It's nighttime, and Snorri has taken over the lighthouse, and the Gribble gang are minstrels, and Tony has cooked everyone food because, you know, he's like that. So, we don't have a lot of time left, but let's just talk quickly.
Yes.
Tony is very domesticated.
Yeah, he is.
He always is making food. He's whiny.
Yeah.
Gribble is kind of this man who just, you want to have my wife? Have her. I'll help you.
Yeah.
You know, this is all, there are no strong masculine role models
In Port
no
Miranda.
longer present in Port Miranda.
Yeah.
The closest that we can get to that is Snorri.
Yeah.
Or Snorri's son, but we find out both of them are useless as well. Snorri'son's not interested in killing people.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that killing people is a masculine trait.
Yeah, that's true.
But
otherwise you wouldn't have female prisoners. Or
yeah,
murderers, at
okay,
least. Yeah.
thank you. But
pointing that
it's
out.
not, you know, I'm not saying that killing people is a masculine thing to do and everybody should do it. I'm just saying that, you know, what is a masculine trait?
I don't know. Being, like, I don't know, chopping down trees.
Being a lumberjack?
Being a lumberjack
As we all know.
as we all know, that's what men
That is
are.
clearly a masculine
That's
trait.
what men did before women existed. We all went out and chopped trees for a living.
Yes, okay, thank you.
But I
I'm
like
sure
I like what you're pointing out here is that like there's the decline of the masculine culture within the West, is what I'm assuming
Yeah.
you're saying, and thus this is more of like there is no strong male or masculine figures in Port Miranda, and that the Vikings come in.
Yeah.
And
Even the Vikings.
even them, they are a caricature of masculinity themselves.
Yeah.
But is that a joke?
I'm
Is
not sure.
it really Epsom Storm making a joke about masculinity itself, saying that behind this whole hyper masculine ideals is actually people who have feminine desires
Yes.
and secretly just try to repress that, right? And compensate it for it with hyper masculine things, and that the idea is that if you were more open to your femininity, you wouldn't have to compensate for it. Ergo, the Vikings really want to have their hairs done. Right?
Yes.
Which is, I guess, and get it cared for and all that stuff, which you could say is, traditionally feminine and all that stuff. And, thus, they compensate for their lack of, or inability to deal with this desire to look pretty and feel good.
Yep.
They kill.
Yep.
Essentially. Whereas Tony is able, I think, maybe too far to go on.
Yes.
He's too feminine. He's lost all shred of his masculinity, and now he's just a shell of a man. Well, I'm sorry, he is. He's just a shell.
Linda wants Snor'e'Son and Snorri to quit smoting skulls and what's his name? Snorlax?
Snorlax,
He
yes.
wants to smoke. He used to smoke 20 a day.
Yes.
Clearly a smoking joke.
Yeah,
And he
it
says,
is.
I'm dealing with my lack of smoking quite well. I'm not angry at all. He gets really angry and he tells us that he's frustrated at being stuck in the fog. Linda's going to go to America with Snor'e'Son eventually. And then she's upset about something. I don't know. My notes are not clear on this. And Snorri gets upset about his hair. And he's going to, otherwise he's going to smote again. And Linda and Snor'e'Son leave because they've got an idea about things that can happen in the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
And Matron says that she can help them with the hair. So they start a hair salon in the middle of Tony's kitchen.
Yeah.
And Matron loves it. And everyone in this scene is being ultra effeminate.
Yes, they are.
And Gribble Jr., after looking at everyone getting their hair dressed as if they're in some sort of hair salon out of a 70s women's sitcom or something, says that he wants to be a Viking too.
Yeah. They're all
The
Gribbles.
decline of the Australian male, present before our very eyes.
ISIS?
What?
Well, well, you could bring it up like this.
You
like
could.
the decline of the masculine ideals in the Western society is making young
Yeah.
men seek out the alternate routes
Well-
of masculinity, which we discussed previously. And since there's no ISIS to be had in this, Vikings in of themselves would be an ISIS-style thing, right?
You're very right that when you don't have something to fight for, something like that, you find it easier to join radical ideals that promote things like violence and things that give you an outlet for those more extreme urges that you might have
Yeah.
that you can't express any other way. So
Yeah.
that's why video games are quite popular in young males and stuff like that, because you have an outlet
Yeah.
For that aggression that's common with puberty and testosterone.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Or is it socially constructed?
Well, I don't know. What are you telling me that it is?
Well, I don't know. The masculine ideal is more socially constructed to deny any femininity for men. And so they can't deal with their inner emotions and feelings. And so they overload and they bottle it up.
Yeah, that's true to an extent.
Yes.
But there is still, that biological
urge
essence that creates some of these ideas. So
True.
it's not entirely socially
You
constructed.
are correct there.
Bronson busts in the room and says, something is happening at the wharf, so everyone goes to the wharf. Thanks, Bronson, for your contribution to this episode.
Yeah, good work.
Linda and Snor'e'Son are on jet skis, and they've got an idea about the fog. And Gribble says, you don't have permission to ride those jet skis. And Snor'e'Son says, my dad will kill you.
Pretty much.
And Gribble says, you have permission now.
And
again,
yeah.
Where's the masculinity here? Gribble,
Well,
Snor'e'Son doesn't even threaten him himself. He says,
My
my dad's gonna beat you up. What is this, primary school in the 90s?
yeah, but like his father has totally killed people before.
Yes.
Have you
but
ever
he
killed
could
someone?
say, I will kill you.
Why would he? He's never killed anyone.
He's a Viking.
Yeah, but he could just get his dad to do it.
It's weak.
His dad will do it and he'll enjoy
weak.
doing it. Well, maybe it is weak, but I mean, Harold is weaker.
Later on, the Vikings are on the boat, and Snorri has matron-level hair now. He's got a great big beehive.
Yeah.
And Snor'e'Son has normal hair.
Yeah.
And Snorri's quite upset that Snor'e'Son has normal hair, and he says, what did you do to your hair, son? And he says, moose.
Yes.
Because,
Moose.
that's a thing.
That is a thing. I wanted to point out that Snorri, when Snorri and Linda rock up on their jet skis. Yeah, so they can rock up on the jet skis. On Snorri's jet ski, there's an L plate, but there's none on Linda's. So what does that mean?
It means that Linda's ridden a jet ski. No,
that means
her jet ski probably just didn't have an L on it. That's what it means.
No, it means that Linda has a jet ski license. And from
Bro.
a friend of mine who has a jet ski license has told me that you can't have a jet ski license if you don't have a boat license.
Is that true?
That's in Queensland at the very least. So, she must also have, if we're going to go by that standard, I'm just going to say that, she must also have a boat license.
Okay.
Which makes sense because she has travelled on 2 islands.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Well, there you go.
Linda has a boat and jet ski license.
I would imagine that she did have a boat license. I don't know about jet ski license.
Fair enough.
But I think at this point you didn't need to have both.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not from Victoria.
You're not a jet ski historian.
I'm not. I only know about piers and jetties. I'm sorry.
Gribble, a gang, they're very interested in becoming Vikings, and they plead as the Vikings are leaving on their boat. And Snorri says yes, but you're going to have to row, and there's no toilet, and they can't cop it.
Yeah.
They can't cope with this. And Matron and Linda are going with the Vikings, and Matron says, my son isn't cut out for a life at sea. And Snorri says, not like you, because you are. This is more about what I was talking about, right?
Yeah, but Matron doesn't actually want to go.
She doesn't want to go, but she can. I don't think she's that bothered.
I think she is. I mean, she can't go. She can't say no.
This is true.
She would like to not go, but it's like, I think she also has a bit of Stockholm Syndrome as well.
Yeah.
So,
she kind of is enjoying this attention.
At some levels, she is enjoying the attention. At other levels, she's like, I really don't like this guy because he's killed like 1,000 people. That's enough said. You don't need another reason to not like someone. He killed people.
Yeah.
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 Tony tries to trade a whole bunch of hair dryers for Linda, who is still under the spell of the magic love book. And Linda, Tony, and Pete are just whining.
Mm-hmm.
And Gribble wants Matron to be included in this deal.
Yeah.
Snor'e'Son gives Linda his book, and he leaves her. He says,
so dangerous.
I'm going. You can have your magic book. Apparently it doesn't affect her anymore because she can make her own decisions now. Maybe being in possession of the book outweighs the powers of the book. But I don't know. This is why we need Nell. Tell us the rules.
Yeah. Look, but the thing is with the book, you read a poem to the person you love and they'll be yours forever. I like that. It was kind of like marriage vows.
Okay.
When you think about it, marriage vows are basically poems that you tell to one another, and they'll be yours forever. So, like, this book of love is actually just a book of marriage vows.
Okay.
But also, there's this thing that says there's only 12 left.
Yes.
So we know that
after that
they become into curses, and so obviously that's going to play a big part in the upcoming season.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Linda makes out with Snor'e'Son.
Yes.
She's fallen in love with a lot of weirdos.
Yeah.
She fell in love with what do you call that? A mer person?
Merman.
And now a Viking.
And also Hugh Townsend.
Hugh Townsend.
Old Townsy boy. You know?
So she did have a normal boyfriend at one point.
Well, he wasn't normal, he was a bit of a douche, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a douche.
You know,
he played AFL.
He played AFL and he was a douche.
Linda's staying now. She's decided to stay. She can make her own decisions. She's a strong, independent woman. No man's going to tell her what
Hear
to
me
do.
roar.
And
His voice is too loud to ignore.
Tony is still going to trade his hairdryers, and they're going to add in shampoo and mousse now to save Matron.
Yes.
Moose seal the deal.
Tony refers to Matron as the Matron.
Yes,
And
which
which
she is a matron.
Yeah, I know, but
which
it's
is
weird.
Interesting.
It's weird, but she called for. That's the first time I think anyone's referred to her as the Matron.
Everyone's just referred to her as matron.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was her first name. Yeah.
The Vikings, they leave, towing their ship with the jet skis, and everyone cheers. And Snorri says, "Goodbye, my little red-hot radish. Goodbye."
Yes.
And the ship leaves. Now, this is weird because the episode kind of ends here, but we get another 5 minutes of stuff. And we'll just go through it quickly because most of it's garbage.
I felt the exact same. Slow fade out. Weird. I expected the episode to end. It definitely has that round of the twist episode, like that's how you'd finish it. But it's weird because we see that Tony is reunited with Faye.
Well, I think this is all just Phil.
I don't think it should be there.
This is more proof of Espen's poor writing abilities. And Faye returns. She kisses Tony. Gribble says, according to Viking law, Tony owns Matron, and so he needs to pay him back for the hairdryers that he used to buy
Doesn't make any
Matron,
sense.
right? Well, I don't know. When has Gribble become an expert on Viking law?
Well, I feel like Viking law is superseded by Australian federal law. And Australian federal law says that Matron, well, for starters, one, you can't buy and sell people because slavery is illegal. I'm pretty sure there's a law about that. Maybe the UN Convention on Human Rights. But then there's also the births, deaths, and marriages. And they're marriage certificates, so you don't need to do shit.
Yes. And by the way,
you're dumb.
The fog has gone, even though we didn't get, explicitly told that. It's just gone now because Faye's back. And Faye's really confused. She couldn't stop the jet ski Grand Prix, but it doesn't matter because the Vikings took them all.
Oh, well then Faye did nothing. Maybe Faye had an affair.
Nothing. Maybe
she really didn't go to to Bigville. It's kind of a stupid name.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe Bigville was actually this guy called Bigville. It's spelled Bigvil, and it's like this Italian guy called Bigville.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for that. Later, they're all watching TV. This is really weird. And they're watching some documentary.
Yeah.
And they find out that North America, they found this Viking ship. That is our Viking ship. And the woman on the TV says, was North America really discovered by a group of mysterious hairdressers? Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, you are excused.
And Linda says they made it. Yes, they did, Linda. Yes, they did. They made it to North America. And Faye is still confused. To Eden.
So, hang on. Wait. So, they would have gone to where? Then,
where went to America.
Where were they rocked up? On the West Coast? Or East Coast, sorry?
I don't know. Somewhere.
West Coast, the one with California, right?
Yes.
Surely. Well, then that would have confused historians even more. How'd they even get to that side of America?
They went the other way.
They went all the way...
Long way round.
Around that big cape on South America.
Alright, let's start to wrap this up. That is the end of the episode. There are a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to bring up there was too much fog. Cut out the fog. Too much fog there, Espen. Go easy on that. And the ending was way too long. We already touched on that.
Well, I think we're should go to talk about Regan's last point. I think it was pretty good.
A couple more pontifications.
Yep.
Do you want to read it out for me?
You read it out.
Which one am I reading?
You read out that one there.
You've held out a tablet in front of me with about 20 points on it.
Okay, so that one there.
Oh, that one there. Okay. The Vikings discovering America was pivotal on the fact that Linda helped them through the fog using Mr. Gribble's jet skis. This would be an interesting topic to discuss. Would the timeline in history now be modified due to the events? Or were the events part of the existing timeline that led us to the modern society and how we live now? Very good point, Regan. Thank you for your pontification.
I think it would have actually had no effect on current society.
Well, one group of Vikings rocking up on the west coast of America. Their boats there. The hairdryers are there.
Let's take hairdryers. Let's take the effect of hairdryers, and we're going to take the boats.
Yes.
All right. The jet skis. Let's say the jet skis are still there. All right. The jet skis will run out of fuel, so that's not an issue, and the hairdryers can't be used.
Yes.
So it's not going to matter that much. What it will do is it will screw up our future, because historians will be like, hang on, what's going on? Why are there hairdryers? Why are there this? The most logical conclusion will actually be that our current dating system is wrong. Right? Some reason, because these all appear to be from the 8th century. Right?
Yes.
Because it would have aged that long.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, this doesn't make any sense. So maybe our dating system, or the way that we date things, doesn't work. And so they'd have to throw out that model and get something new. But but because it's right, we'd have inaccurate dates of things.
Yes.
So that's probably what would happen in the future. Also, we'd be told of, I don't know, like some sort of great Atlantis thing. We'd have conspiracy nuts just lose their shit, because they'd just be like, Atlantis confirmed.
Yep.
Right? Atlantis confirmed.
Atlantis will be confirmed later on in Round the Twist canon, but we'll get to that when we eventually get to season 4.
Oh, that I'm looking forward to that.
Look forward.
I've watched an hour-long video about how the world was created by Atlanteans.
Did you really? On YouTube?
One of those dark. You know when you go on those down the rabbit holes and it just gets.
You'll have to send me that video.
I will need to send that. It's pretty terrible.
I'll put aside my daily viewing of Ayn Rand documentaries, and I will.
You will watch this, and you'll go.
I'll watch it.
My God, I'm convinced.
And then I'll just start watching Ancient Aliens.
Oh, I fucking love Ancient Aliens.
How would you rate this episode out of 10 bowls of spaghetti?
Well, I rated it as about a 6.5 bowls of spaghetti.
Yes.
A side order of breadsticks, like, you know when you get free breadsticks?
Yep.
All the breadsticks that you can get for free.
Yep. Okay.
So what did you rate it?
Well, let's see what Regan rated it. Regan Pontillo, the great contributor.
He rated it 7 out of 10 spaghetti bowls with some mousse. Chocolate, not hairstyling.
Oh, you comedian, Regan.
This guy, come on.
You witty man.
How did you rate it?
I really should prepare my ratings in advance because I'm starting to look unprofessional.
You are.
Because Regan uses our patented trademark rating system better than I do. Yep. I would rate it 7 bowls of Viking
spaghetti.
fettuccine.
That's weird. I've never had Viking fettuccine, but
because I've just made it up, okay? Give me a break.
It's been a long day.
It hasn't.
No, it hasn't been a long day.
No, it hasn't.
No.
If you would like to know more about our podcast, Tales from the Twists, and hear more of us talk about 80s, 90s, and early 2000s children television shows from Australia, then you can follow us on any number of social media, including...
Well, we're on Facebook at Tales from the Twists, and it's the same with YouTube, Tales from the Twists.
Yes.
We're on Twitter at TFT Twists.
Yes.
You can find our website, which is obviously talesfromthetwist.wordpress.com.
Yep.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, because that's what all the cool people do. And all the sexy people, they're enjoying this thing on Facebook called the Chicken Twisties group, which I want to bring up. Phil Bates, someone who was in the Chicken Twisties group, actually visited the Around the Twist Lighthouse. Now, he's put photos up of his visit there, and you can see the inside of the lighthouse. And my mind was blown how we've been lied to, that the inside of the lighthouse does not contain any rooms. Yep. And the spiral staircase is actually backwards. So, if you want to see those pictures, just try to join that Chicken Twisties group. Alright,
what is the best way to do that?
Search for it in Facebook, or alternatively...
And ask to be added?
Yeah, and ask to be added, or there should be a link within our, one of the posts on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And that should be the easiest way to do it.
The other way to do it, you can message Anthony by messaging Tales from the Twists on Facebook, and whenever you want to message about anything...
just say hello, or
message.
Call us assholes.
Apparently, according to Facebook, we have a less than 5-minute response time to messages.
Yeah, that's my doing. Very good.
They're very on top of it.
Very responsive. Yeah, well, you know, that's me. I like to be on top of things.
And that's all the time we have for today because we've run a little bit over.
Yep.
Anything else you wanted to say before we cut to black?
No. Do you have anything else to say?
Yes.
What do you have to say?
My name's been Joe Lewis.
And I'm Anthony Bull.
Thank you very much for listening, and stay twisty.
Yeah, see ya.